Have you ever wondered if you could install a different set of pickups in your electric guitar yourself? I'm here to tell you you can, and I'm going to show you how. All right, in order to install our pickups, we're going to need a soldering iron, of course, some solder, some flux, and we've got to take the strings off. So I've got my string winder and my Allen wrench, since this is a Floyd Rose guitar, and of course our pickups. So these pickups were the original pickups that came in this guitar, and I decided to try some other single coils out that I have since changed my mind on. So we're going to be putting the original rail single coil, these little mini humbuckers, back in, which sound really cool. All right, while my soldering iron is warming up, I'm going to go ahead and loosen up my strings. All of the tools that I've used, I'm going to put links in the description for all of these. And really, it's not that much cost to get a soldering iron and all the stuff you would need to do a job like this. Next, using my Phillips head screwdriver, take the control cavity panel off. All right, so this is what we're looking at on the inside here. So first thing we need to do is identify which pickups are the single coils. And I know when you're looking at this mess of wires in here, it can be a little confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the guitar back over, and I'm going to remove the screws that hold the single coils in. You want to be careful that there should be springs underneath the pickups. So when you pull the pickup up and out of the guitar, don't lose your springs. Let's see, yeah, let's see. There's one. See if you can see that. That'll focus right there. There's one spring. Okay, so I've identified my neck pickup is this one here, and I want to make sure I pay attention to the wiring. Now this pickup that's in here has only got 3 wires. We've got a red wire, a white, and then this ground. But if you notice on the pot, this is actually the tone pot right here, not the volume, that the red and the ground are both soldered to it right here, and the white is going to one of the lugs on the selector switch. So, and it looks like it is the 3rd spot from the back. To kind of help hold some of these wires out of the way, I'm just going to use this little clip, kind of keep the wires out of my way. Now what I want to do, before I turn my soldering iron on or start using it, there's a sponge in here that you want to make sure is soaked with water. That way you can clean your soldering tip. And you'll hear it kind of sizzle a little bit, and that makes sure that we've got a good, clean soldering tip. So what I want to do is I want to try not to touch any of these wires so I don't melt anything, and I just want to heat this wire up, and you'll notice how easily that came right off right there. And then I want to do the same thing, try to find, now all of these are kind of soldered together on this pot, so as I start heating this up, these other wires may come off as well. Let's see what happens here when I undo this one. And I'm kind of putting a little pressure on the wire as I heat this up. And look at that, those all came off right there. Now, this that I unsoldered was actually my middle pickup, but that's okay because I'm going to get to that one in just a moment. So I need to come back in, and I've got to get this red and this ground off, and it's really in there in this pile of solder. I'm just going to warm it up, kind of put a little pressure on the wire. we go, it's starting to move. There, it came off. There's my red, and now I just need to get my ground. Move this out of the way. Where are you at? I'm trying not to melt the wires for the output jack. And there we go. We've got one that is completely free. All right, so that was my neck pickup, and now I've got the middle pickup, which is attached to this second lug. So I'm gonna warm that up. And there we go. Both of the single coils are free. Now you can see right here, my soldering iron touched that insulation right there a little bit. So you gotta be careful. Pretty sure it didn't damage it, but you gotta be careful. You definitely don't wanna melt your plastic on the wires. Now we can flip our guitar back over. And here's my neck pickup that I had loosened up earlier. Now the hole that's drilled through from the pickups to the control cavity, it's a small diameter hole, so it's a tight fit with the wires. So I'm gonna remove this middle pickup now, and then I'm gonna try to carefully remove by pulling the wires through as I pull the pickups out, being careful not to tear the wire or rip it apart or anything. So at this point, my original pickups, you can see we've got 5 wires on this, but this might be difficult to feed through the passageway inside the guitar. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take just a little piece of tape. I'm using just blue painter's tape here to help fish this through so it doesn't get snagged on anything, so it's a little bit smoother to work its way through. So I'm gonna start with the neck position, and I'm going to get it in through the slot there. So it might be helpful to use something like some needle nose pliers to help guide this wire through. Worst case scenario, if we have trouble getting this through, we take the bridge pickup off, because then we can see, make sure we're not getting hung up and it's getting looped around in here. Let's actually do that just to make sure. Sometimes that wire will find this cavity, will try to snake around in there, and that's exactly what it did. See? So then I can guide this through this opening towards the control cavity. There we go. Now if I flip it back over carefully, I should see, there, ta-da, we got our wire right there. All right, this is our neck pickup. All right, while I've got this all open, I'm going to go ahead and, let's give it some slack here. I'm gonna go ahead and feed the middle pickup through. So I'm gonna take me a little piece of tape. Doesn't have to be big, just enough to wrap around the wires. I tell you, when I do this normally, it goes a lot smoother, but with multiple cameras and lights in the way, it's definitely challenging. My pickups are picking up all these screws over here. All right. Now the fun part, getting this one through. Now we can start reinstalling our pickups into the body of the guitar. Go ahead and remove our tape carefully. Now, and you'll notice that on these 5-wire pickups, at least on this one, that the green and the white are connected. And then we need to determine where our red and our black are going to go. So always consult with the wiring diagram for your particular pickups before attempting any of this. That way you make sure you get everything connected correctly. We're going to take our soldering iron, and I'm going to go ahead and attach the white lead. This is our neck pickup, and this one went on this front lug. And just like that. Next, I need to attach the wires to the pot. You want to heat it up enough to where you see the solder liquefy. Hold it for a few seconds till the solder cools down enough to solidify. And I've got one more wire that needs to go down. Now in this particular configuration, 2 of the wires are soldered together, and I'm going to use a piece of electrical tape to wrap this out of the way, just like they did from the factory. All right, now we're going to wire up the middle pickup. If you've got any bare wire that doesn't have solder on it, this ground wire right here, this bare wire, broke a little bit, but I think there's still enough that I can use this. If you have bare wire, you want to put a little dab of Flux on it. That way the solder sticks. And there we go. We've got it wired up. Now I just need to take any bare wires that were wired together, just put a little electrical tape around it. Okay, so after initially putting the pickups in, I realized that on my neck and middle pickups that I had a couple of the wires connected wrong. So what happened was I put the pickups out of phase inadvertently. So when I played it, I started to notice that it sounded thin. So I went back, looked inside, double checked my wiring diagram, saw the error of my ways and corrected it. Since then, it sounds amazing. All right, hey, thanks for checking out the video. If you've got questions or comments regarding the soldering process, drop those down below. And if you want to hit that subscribe button, I won't be mad at you. Till next time, keep rocking on.